Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Justin Wolf from Wolf Customs. I've had somebody request that I show some of my belt pouches that I've been doing here lately. Okay, everybody knows that I do the Affordable Woodsman series, which is a very plain and a very simple belt pouch like this. Okay, no frills, no thrills on this thing. It's just a very basic pouch. Okay. I do, however, make custom belt pouches as well. One that I had actually finished up today is along the same simplicity of the Affordable Woodsman, but you know, it's a little bit fancier. You know, it's got nice border around the lid and everything else. The back, you know, is actually, the belt loop is actually stitched on instead of, you know, with copper rivets and everything else. Nice thick piece of veg tan, you know. And then the other thing is it's got a 1.5 inch gusset in it right here on the sides, which allows it to open up, you know, a lot wider than this one. You can actually see that the Affordable Woodsman is actually bigger, but this one will hold just as much gear as this one will because of the shape of it, as well as that gusset and everything else. Now, when you start putting gussets and everything else in these things, you know, the price goes up because you literally double the amount of stitching that you're doing with something like this. With something like this, you know, you're looking at two pieces of leather sewn together, you know, not counting the third piece, which is a flat. There's still a lot of stitching that goes into one of these, don't get me wrong. But with something like this, it's literally double the amount of stitching. So I mean, double the amount of stitching comes a higher cost. But you know, a lot of people will accept that because, you know, this is a lot more pleasing to the eye versus, you know, something like this. I mean, this is very, like I said, very plain. But you know, again, you know, a lot of times people get blinded when they see something like this. They think, oh man, I want that, you know, and they instantly jump right in and say, hey, I want the affordable one. But then when I share pictures like this, everybody's like, oh man, I should have done that. Well, you can ask me, you know, if I can do something or if I can't do it, and if I can't do it, I'll tell you. But, you know, a lot of times I can do things like this, you know, it's just that people don't ask, you know, and if you don't ask for it, you know, then I won't know that you want it. So I've had a lot of people start requesting that I put, you know, the border on the lid and everything else. And, you know, like I said, I can absolutely do that, you know. And then I've had people request that I stitch a belt loop on instead of you know, putting on copper rivets, and I can absolutely do that as well. Just keep in mind that this is custom work, and this is work that I can bang out relatively fast. You know, I've got a pouch coming up that's kind of like this one, except for it's also got a buckle over the top of it and everything else. You know, and I mean, a lot of you guys that have been, you know, watching me for quite some time have seen the pouches that I do that have buckles and everything else on them, and I love them. I mean, I've always wanted to make myself one, I just never have the time. But you know, and then you can have a small one like this one. Okay, now this one still has copper rivets on the back holding it on, and you know, this one doesn't have a gusset in it either. It's just a small belt pouch, and the only thing fancy about this one is, again, the flap. You know, that flap has that that nice border on it, okay? But the rest of the pouch itself I can sew together very fast. So I mean, this one is would still fall into the affordable woodsman, you know, price, more than likely. But gives it just a little bit more eye appeal to it, I guess. So, like I said, these two are pretty much the exact same size, except you add the gusset in there. This one holds a lot more. Plus, you know, it's just kind of your personal preference, really, how you want the back to look and everything else. We can do this all kinds of different ways. That's the beautiful thing about leather and the beautiful thing about custom work. Another thing that I'm doing is the Dangler systems are going to be changing. You know, I'm no longer going to be using those round carabiner looking things. I've had 2 of those fail in the field now, and you know, that's not acceptable. 1 fail is unacceptable. You know, I mean, I was very fortunate that no one's knives or anything like that got lost. But just for one of those round carabiners to fail, it's no good, no good. So I will no longer be buying those things because I don't like mechanical failure. I hate it. So my Dangler systems are going to be completely different. Okay, here is a Dangler system that I'm doing now. This is on the back of a Laplander sheath. As you can see, the Dangler itself comes off. You can still wear this high on the hip, or I've sewn this loop on right here to hold this brass D-ring. And then the Dangler itself, you know, has a very heavy-duty brass clip. You know, when I look at it like this, these brass clips here, I think are really nice to look at. Besides that, these things go on halters and everything else for horses. And, you know, most of you guys know that I grew up on a horse ranch. I've never seen one of these things break, okay? And I've seen horses just go crazy, you know. And, you know, usually they don't break. So it's very strong. I know that when I put this on your sheath, I know it's not going to go anywhere. You know, and most of you guys know that I do the affordable woodsman Laplander sheath. Well, let me show you the difference between the affordable one and one of these custom ones right here. Let me reach around here and grab this and grab a saw. So here is an affordable woodsman one, okay? These things only come in one color and one color only. You can see that there is no welt, and there's not really a need for a welt because the spine of this is not sharp and it doesn't touch it anyway. It goes in there, and this thing is in there very good. You know, that thing's not going to come out of there at all, even though this ain't water formed or anything else. Now your custom one, the colors, it's completely up to you. I mean, as you can see, that this is a dark brown, this is a real light brown. You know, the colors are completely up to you. These, you can see that this one is actually water formed to the shape of this saw. So when that goes in there, it clicks in, and you could sit here and shake this thing all day long until you give yourself a headache and it ain't coming out. So, you know, you get what you pay for. Also, this has a welt even in it, even though, like I said, there's no need to put it in there. I put it in there because it just makes it stronger. You know, in my opinion, it just makes it stronger, makes it beefier. And so the custom work on it and everything else, I don't know, is what it is. But it is kind of nice to be able to give options, you know, give something for, you know, someone, the common man, and then supply something also for somebody that can, you know, pony up a little bit more dough, and, you know, wants it, you know, something that's custom. So anyway, enough rambling. I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good one.